As far as the S&P goes, a little bit of a green open and above that zone. You know how annoying that is? You know how annoying it was to go short last week, by the way? Jumped up, hit that. Now, these white zones are more 15-minute time frames, and at the open, we jumped up, we hit that. We're selling back off a little bit, kind of holding. My puts I had expired last week, so I'm actually not short right now. That was just a 100% L on that, so that was awesome. Shorting last week was so annoying. It really was. It was so tempting, too. I had 15 minutes, so I went short, right? It shot up, and then I added to the shorts. After there was conversation in the chat. I was like, nah, I'm not going to add on. Like a couple hours later, I was like, nah, I'm buying puts. It was just they baited me into this. And then at the next morning, the open, I think it was actually just that candle, I was up on just those puts, not all the previous ones. And that lasted about 15 minutes, and then it went south. So for now, I guess let's talk about all-time highs. I figured this would be a tough area to really break. I know there's a lot of people. I've seen a lot of chatter, a lot of people talking about buying like September puts, something like that. And maybe I would get on board that. Maybe I just don't want to right now after taking the L last week on those puts. Now, ultimately, my not to walk it back or anything, my account is long a lot of everything. So, every bit of those puts was just a hedge. Still, as a trader, 100%. And they were risking capital, right? So I bought them. They were either going to zero or I was going to manage a green trade. So just a crappy time. Sucks to suck. I try to go over the losses on YouTube more, but there's just I don't get why people like to freak out about those. I don't know. There's really no such thing as you don't manage a red trade. You take the trade if it goes south. That's that. That's it. There's no dwelling on it. I'd rather dwell on the green ones. How you could manage, squeeze every penny out of it you can. Keep those losses to TikTok. For now, as annoying as it is, and how much I want to just short this market right now. I'm going to have to shy away first. Let's let a couple red candles show up first. I think anybody trying to short right now, falling into that gambler's fallacy. We talk about a roulette strategy. You go up to the roulette table, and it's been red the last 6-7 times. So you put your money on black thinking, no, this is the time. And you're seeing all these green candles. You're thinking, oh, surely a red candle is about to happen. But no. In fact, that doesn't have to happen at all. So you end up buying puts, going short the ES, and then it costs you when really all you had to do was just play the trend. What someone learned the first 15 minutes as a trader, one of the first lines you even hear is, the trend is your friend. This thing's been a great friend. You're over here just turning your back. All right, let me break down the futures real quick, and then I'm going to come back and do the S&P, the QQQ, IWM, Tesla, Meta, and I'm going to put up all the expected moves on those. That way we're not just kind of like bouncing around. As far as the NASDAQ goes, as soon as we get above this, I do want to shout out to Dom if he is here, because we even talked about this, but he called it out. We were at this zone, and he was like, nah. If this data comes out good, it's going to be 19.6. And someone even said, do you mean 18.6? He said, no, 19.6. He was 20 points away on a $20,000 product. That's not bad. Anyway, nailed that one. For now, gosh, I would, this is going to just suck, probably go short at this yellow zone. I draw these boxes for a reason. Now, I wouldn't buy puts. This one I would specifically, when I buy puts, if I'm taking an options play, it's probably risking capital, and I don't care about the chop. Let that thing go up, down, all around. That's my play. I just want it to be right or wrong. With this one, I'll probably more actively manage it and take a zone play, go short the NQ, and if it pops back down, even a red candle like this, I have to really stretch this out and get emotional. That's a decent money in a futures contract. So I'll take that here, and if it pops down, put my stop in the green. That way, this happens a lot in futures. I don't like to scalp But if you're catching that knife, you really have to put your stop in the green, take that risk off the table. Because once you put your stop in the green, it becomes, do I make enough to buy a bowl of Chipotle, or do I make enough to take my whole team out to Chipotle? Do I have enough to buy a Chipotle building? And I like those options. I don't like the, do I lose this much? In one of the practices I luckily just did from the beginning, and it's panned out very well, is I don't actually get attached to that P&L number you see bouncing around on your screen. I know a lot of people do, and most people can tell me every dollar they would have spent had they made it. Like, they are infatuated with this number. If I ever say, hey, I'm up $1,000, I could tell you guys I could go long right here. We're way up here, way more than 1,000. And I tell you guys I'm up $1,000. It's because my stop loss is probably in the green somewhere right inside here. While that says I'm up 20,000, doesn't matter. I always, in my head, it's where that stop is at, because this can change at any moment. So I always don't care about the number. If I haven't moved my stop up, then I still have plenty of risk on the table. That thing could still turn on a dime, full send down, limit this thing down, and then I take 100% loss. I go from 20 grand up to a loss. Anyway, I'm probably going to go short. I'm for sure going to short this bright yellow zone. As far as short, I do mean NQ contracts. I don't know if I would buy any puts right now. If anything, if there's any kind of dips, if we were to get like a real pullback, maybe from blue zone to blue zone, at this point, and this is what I talked about last week with my group, is I'm going to start buying call options for December. That's the soonest time frame I think I care about. The only thing we have is that and by we I mean, this is what I bought and what I posted, and if you agreed, then you have a very similar play and similar numbers as me. But I bought a November 15th 28 strike Palantir call. We actually bought it, so I bought it. It went up, sold it, got back in, so it's up. We're doing good. Outside of that, everything I do is going to have December's expiration. And as far as the growth account goes, I'm this close to selling that contract, just locking it in the profits, and then just buying the shares. I have been taking the money from the calls that we've sold and buying Palantir shares. I want the next 100 shares of Palantir to sell call options against it. So I don't know. We might continue to chunk it in. I'm so back and forth. Anyway, if you're following that account, then that's the Patreon, right? Just know that those alerts might be coming out. We'll see. I'm not entirely sold on one or not. As far as the Russell goes, this one did look almost like a picture-perfect bear flag, but we kind of had this pennant right here. And we broke that thing up. And like we talked about, it's been a while since we talked about it. I call it like the hammer on glass, just something I made up. There's a million names for it. But here's the horizontal line is your glass, right? And then the ascending or descending line is your hammer. And we get to that point when push comes to shove, it's time to find out which one's which. Is that bulletproof glass, or is this hammer just made out of graphite? One of those is about to break. More often than not, it's the horizontal pane that breaks. We did get that breaking up. For now, I wouldn't do it, but if I was bullish, I would be a little concerned with any sellers in this zone. Again, possibly looking for a dip if it did pull back. How many deltas is the Palantir call right now? And how many deltas would you buy in shares? Well, I think we have 25 shares in the account. I'd have to look at the growth account to find out. But I would just buy enough to get to 100 shares. It would cost a little bit more. And that's why I haven't, because that call was so cheap when we bought. So our exposure was so much less. We still technically have those control of the 100 shares. But I want to be able to sell calls against it. Although, another thing that's not so urgent as far as Palantir goes is I want to probably keep it light in September because I don't want an S&P inclusion announcement to come out in September and then all of a sudden Palantir shoots to 40 and then all of a sudden now I'm in some 35 sold calls and now I'm in a roll position for the next 15 years. Anyway, because I do want to keep the Palantir shares like NVIDIA, so it doesn't really matter what the share price does. I want to keep the shares to collect rent on them every week. Let's get back. Let's chart out our expected moves. I did already do this before the stream, so we are good to go. Because the expected move changes, these are my lines that I add. All right. Actually, let's bring that up. All right, so the IWM expecting 479, QQQ 973, SPY $7.59, Tesla 1271, Meta 1657, Microsoft 966, Nvidia 720, Amazon 529, Apple 548, Google 462, Ford 39 cents coming in hot. We got Palantir with the $1.74, Intel 93 cents, our latest edition, and Amazon. It's going to be Amazon forever. AMD at 708.